So, you want to put together a pedal board, you want to figure out the correct order for your pedals. Hopefully this video can help you out, so be sure and stick around through the whole video. Is there a correct order for your pedals? Technically, no. I mean, I guess you could do whatever you wanted to do, but there might be some things that I might be able to help you out with to make your sound a little bit better. These are some of my recommendations to help you with putting together your pedal board. I've put together a few of them, and this might help you get a cleaner, better, fuller sound with a little bit less mud. Stick around, hit like on this video. My first recommendation is to start your signal chain off with a guitar tuner, because one, you absolutely have to play in tune. If you're not playing in tune, nobody's going to want to listen. You're not even going to want to play yourself, let's be completely honest. And number two, the guitar tuner can actually mute your whole signal, which is a huge plus, because if you're playing live and you finished a song and now you need to go into the next song, but you're slightly out of tune from bending the strings or just playing on those strings, well, you can just hit the guitar tuner and that will actually mute your sound, which is awesome. So the guitar tuner goes right up front, at least on my pedal board, on every single pedal board I've actually built, and I would say on most people's pedal boards they put the tuner right up front. You could probably put it at the end as well. Nobody wants to hear your god-awful tuning, let's be real. Next in line, I recommend dynamics, or pedals that alter the dynamic range of your signal. So I'm talking about volume, I'm talking about wah-wah, I'm talking about compression. These things all go right at the front of your signal chain. My wah-wah is the next in line for me personally, so it goes tuner and then wah-wah. And you can see that here. But the wah and anything that alters the volume or can squeeze your sound a little bit, that kind of stuff will be perfect right there, second in line right after the guitar tuner. You can also, again, put the volume pedal at the end of your signal chain, just like you could with the guitar tuner, but I like it right up at the front, as I just find that a little bit easier. But again, there's no rules, so try that out for yourself. Okay, so let's talk about gain pedals. I'm talking distortions, I'm talking fuzz, I'm talking overdrives, I'm talking the things that are going to make you rock and roll. So these are typically what I'll put after my compression, after my dynamic filters and things like that, like the wah-wah or the volume pedal, because you really wouldn't want to put these after a delay or a reverb, as it will just make the delay or reverb distorted or overdriven. You can see that here. I put the overdrive right after the wah-wah to get the cleanest sound with the least amount of mud. If I put it after a time-based effect, well, it's going to be distorting that, and then my signal sound can get really, really washy and really, really weird and kind of hard to figure out exactly what's going on when you're listening back. So overdrives, fuzzes, and distortions go really good right after the compression and dynamic stuff. I mean, if you want to put it after the reverbs, then you could go right ahead. You know, it's all punk rock, right? I guess, if that sounds cool. If anything sounds cool, by the way, on this list, this is very important. This is something that I have learned over the years. It's very important. If anything sounds good in whatever order it is, well, then leave it. Again, there's no rule. So if you put all of your time-based stuff before your distortions and it sounds crazy and huge but really good, well, then hey, you got yourself an answer right there. Just go with that route. Very cool. Modulation! Modulation is next. These are the kind of things that I would put after the overdrives and gain pedals and things like that. I'm talking flanger, phasers, maybe choruses. That stuff goes really good right around this neighborhood, because it's not going to be muddying up your sound again after any time-based effects. Although some modulations can mess with that stuff, I would typically classify them as well fit here on the pedal board. By the way, you can really find your own sonic thumbprint with modulation too. Find yourself a really good chorus or a really cool effect that's like a modulation. You can find your own sonic thumbprint very well with this kind of stuff, especially right after your distortions and gain pedals. So highly recommend that. Check it out. Plus, modulation overall is just really fun. Last in line would be my delays and reverbs. Now we're getting to the mad scientist realm of things. Anything that's going to alter the sound in a way that is time-based, like an echo or a reverb. Well, that stuff sounds really good at the end of the signal chain, because everything is now passing through the signal chain. Follow the path. and you'll see that everything passes through and then ends up going into the delay. So everything that goes into that delay is now going to echo, versus if you flip that and you had the distortions after the delay, it would be echoing, and then you would add distortion to the echo, which can get, again, really muddy and not so good sounding. Unless it does, then don't listen to a word I'm saying, because again, this is all art and you can do whatever you want. But this is my recommendation for you to get a cleaner, fuller, warmer sound. So yeah, just don't add distortion after your reverb. That's just like mad scientist levels of pedalboardology. Is that a word? Pedalboardology. Real quick, we should talk about the effects loop. A lot of amps have an effects loop where you can bypass like the preamp tubes and stuff like that. Delays sound really good in the effects loop. Use it if possible. Yeah, it takes just a couple extra cables, but I do recommend throwing your delay into the effects loop and bypassing that. It really cleans up your sound a lot. I only recently just started doing this, and I highly recommend it. I wish I would have done it years ago, but as soon as I started putting my delay through the effects loop, it really cleaned up the sound. Again, you will need a couple extra cables, but it's well worth it because that sound, it just is a little bit more subtle, and your delay is just tucked in there a little bit better. So I do recommend that. At least give it a try. Again, you can plug in your delay right into the front. That's no worries, but go to the effects loop and you might get a cleaner tone and a more subtle tone and a more pleasing tone overall. Okay, cliffhanger, but what about my Red Witch Synthetron? Where does that go on my pedal board? To tell you the truth, I would take the Red Witch Synthetron and throw it in the garbage. It doesn't belong on your pedal board. That pedal is absolute junk, and it has no place on my board. I don't even know where you would put it, okay? So just disregard that one. If you want to see more on that pedal, check it out here. It's the most weird video game pedal I've ever had the pleasure of playing, but it was fun, so check that out. Guys, if you've made it this far into the video, I do appreciate you watching. As a bonus, here is a clip of my dog watching me get set up here to record this video. She's absolutely weird and totally curious. By the way, her name is Callie. So now your pedal board's all set up, you are good to go. Feel free to swap in and out different pedals to find your own sound. That's the coolest part about pedal boards. You know, there's so many pedals out there, each with a different sound, with a million different people claiming each one is better. So the coolest thing about it is just trying them all out, and down the rabbit hole you go. I hope this video helped you out a lot. My name's Cliffhanger. If you like this kind of stuff, thank you so much for watching Riff with Cliff. Again, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys the next time that I see you. Have a good one. Rock and roll.